All right, Mighty Crew, welcome back to Mighty Mike. Today we're going to see what happened with the DOJ yesterday and their super important enforcement over crypto. Also, I'm going to do a market update and we're going to see what's going on with the traditional markets and the earnings season. So stick around until the end of the video and don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe button. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Breaking news now from the Justice Department at this hour. That agency just announcing the arrest of the majority shareholder of an overseas cryptocurrency exchange. He's accused of facilitating the transmission of hundreds of millions of dollars of illicit money and money laundering as well. Let's bring in NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian. So, Ken, who is this person and how'd the feds get to him?
Aaron, his name is Anatoly Legodimov, and authorities say he's a Russian national.
Ligma what?
Who was living in China, but he was arrested this morning by the FBI in Miami. Now, they have not said how they lured him here, but they do say that the company he founded, Bitzlato, was a giant crypto exchange money laundering enterprise. They say it
that nobody in the crypto space has ever heard of. Everybody was super scared that this was going to be crashing cryptocurrency. There was the announcement that the DOJ was going to be doing some kind of global cryptocurrency enforcement. And it really just turned out to be this Bitzlato that nobody has ever heard of. And it's almost as if we were watching the DOJ in a different universe because they totally ignore all of the actual crypto scams that people know about. And they're going after this random cryptocurrency exchange, like I said, that nobody has ever heard of. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. If you guys have heard of this, then let me know, because from what I can understand, this is pretty much unheard of by anybody, at least here in America. This was apparently what led to this wick right here, where we actually had a little bit of a flash crash yesterday. But we have recovered some of those losses, and I don't really think that this was the actual thing that sent us to the downside. I think it was already needed because we were overextended, especially right here on the daily chart, as you can see by the RSI. And it just needed to cool off a little bit here. We were hitting this resistance, which was the previous high right here. And we, like I said, we needed to get above this or else we were going to be seeing some kind of retracement anyway. I actually think that this could continue to the downside until we reach this 200-day moving average, and then hopefully we'll turn this into support and go back to the upside. The daily RSI is still overbought, and I think it could definitely still continue to cool off. But whenever we do have relief rallies and stuff like this, a lot of times the RSI will stay into the overbought territory while we just continue to go to the upside. That means that we could just actually consolidate a little bit through the weekend here, and then on Monday we could go back up without even coming back down to touch this 200-day moving average. But if you look here in the past, a lot of times during the bear market, whenever we were coming out of it, as we were breaking above the 200-day moving average, we did have to come back down and get pretty close or possibly even retest it, turning it into support before we could go back to the upside some more. This happens a lot throughout history, and I do think that it's going to possibly happen again. And this would make a lot of people think that this was actually just a bull trap and that we're going to be going down lower than that. If we do break down below this 200-day moving average, then I'm going to be pretty skeptical because this could be a false breakout and we might come back down here to retest this orange line or find support within this trading range at about $17,000 to $16,000. I'm really just saying that as a possibility. I don't think that's what's going to happen, and I do believe we're probably going to go sideways here or trade within $19,500 and $21,500. Whenever we break out of that trading range, I think we're going to know which direction we're headed. And until that happens, I think we're going to be looking at traditional stock market indicators like earnings and what the Fed is going to continue to be doing to decide what's going to happen from this point forward. This week we did get PPI, and it came in worse than expected at negative 0.5%, with the forecast being negative 0.1%. This was 5 times worse than everybody was expecting it to be. And this could be a sign that inflation is starting to slow down and the Fed can actually pause or maybe even start to pivot here soon. The Fed is trying to break the markets, and whenever they do finally get those markets broken, that's when they're going to be able to do a pivot. And we are starting to see these earnings taking some hits, with Goldman Sachs EPS coming in at 3.32%, with the forecast being 5.56%. This means that they're taking a real bad hit on their earnings, and it's worse than everybody was expecting. Charles Schwab came in 2 basis points lower than expected, with Procter & Gamble being pretty much at the estimate, and Netflix coming in later this evening. If we continue to see a lot of these top companies come in with lower than expected earnings, then we're going to see that have an effect on the S&P 500 because that is basically an ETF of the top 500 companies in America. So if the top companies are taking a hit on their earnings, then the stock market is going to continue to go down, and this could definitely push cryptocurrency for another leg lower. But as I've said in the past, hopefully we will start to see a situation where people are looking for better investments that aren't being damaged by earnings, and cryptocurrency will start to look enticing at that point because it doesn't actually have earnings and it can go up while the stock market's going down. This would be the decoupling that people have all been looking forward to, and hopefully it will happen eventually. But cryptocurrency and Bitcoin have never been around during a real recession, so nobody actually knows what's really going to happen. If earnings continue to come in worse than expected and the stock market plummets, then we might see a situation where the Fed Powell has to actually pivot before he's expecting to. And at that point, they're going to have to continue printing, and with Bitcoin being a really great hedge against the actual debasement of currency and not necessarily inflation, then we could see this be the bottom and Bitcoin could start to recover. Also, speaking of printing money, the debt ceiling has to be raised by tomorrow or else we're going to have to default on our debts. And as you know, that's not going to happen, and they are definitely going to raise that debt ceiling. And that means that trillions of more dollars are going to be available to print. So the debasement of our currency is definitely not done, and it's probably going to continue to ramp up coming up real soon as we have to raise that debt ceiling. And the stock market is starting to see really bad earnings, meaning that the Fed might have to actually go back to quantitative easing at some point. So I believe that cryptocurrency is just getting started, and it's still really early, so I'm going to continue to dollar cost average while I have the opportunity to get in at the bottom. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is Bitcoin going to take a huge hit because the stock market is seeing depressing earnings? Or are we going to actually have a decoupling, and is Bitcoin going to start another bull market coming up soon? Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Oh, hey, I was just being chased by a bear. Watch out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell too, because I don't want you to miss out on any important updates. And check out this video. Oh crap, I gotta get out of here.